Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm playing a 2v2v2v2 match on the map Strawberry Minefield Mega 8. I'm starting in the bottom left position, playing as the Soviets. This is a new map that I've started playing tonight, and it's quite an interesting map. There's lots of resources scattered around the map, and there's also lots of gems towards the middle of the map. And in this matchup, we've got a very strong team to fight against. We've got Collins and Robot, who are on the same team, and they're going to be by far the hardest team to beat on this. They're starting in the top left, and we're starting in the bottom left. In this game, I'm not going to go for any risky strategies. I'm going to be going through the basic bread and butter gaming, basically quick match style, not going for any risky strategies, going for the optimum play style to take out my opponent. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building 2 war factories to start with. I'm going to be going for 2 ore trucks straight away, just to get a good economy set up, and I'm going to be going for lots and lots of tanks. So you can see there's my first war factory out, building an ore silo just so I don't waste any ore, getting another power plant down there, and now going for my second war factory, expanding to that next ore and gem patch. One important thing when you're playing against good players is how fast you can get that third war factory out, so I'm going to be wanting to get it out quite early in this game. I am going to need to build my second ore refinery first though, and we're going to be going for, hopefully, quite an early attack. With the gem patch being in the middle, we need to take this seriously. We can't just hang back, because if they get to that gem patch first and get a good economy set up, then it will put them in a really strong and commanding position. But now I've got those 2 ore trucks out, I'm going to be starting to get my heavy tanks, and I've got my second ore refinery on the build right now. Just taking these infantry a bit further up and just making sure I have them defending my base fully. And now we've got our second ore refinery up, we're going to be able to send this next ore truck to this patch here and start mining on this ore patch, because I don't want to lose all the ore from the first ore patch first. We do need to spread our ore trucks out a bit, and you can see my third war factory now being built. And this is just going to put us in such a good position. A bit of micro with my ore trucks just to make sure they collect gems, give me a much better economy. And now that third war factory is built, I'm going to be able to build another ore refinery. I'm also going to need to build 2 ore trucks just to maintain the tank production from the 3 war factories. You can see I've got quite a lot of ore stacked up as well, but that ore is going to be used up quite quickly now, because the more war factories you have, the more resources you're going to be using to build more tanks at a faster rate. I'm also going for another ore refinery now. I'm just holding these ore trucks back for a moment because I'm going to put them in the new ore refinery. What you have to be careful of is when you have too many ore trucks going to the same ore refinery, they can become blocked. So that's what I'm trying to avoid here. And now we've got both these ore trucks going to this new ore refinery, and I'm going to go for a 4th war factory. So let's see how this can go. We're just squashing some of those yellow infantry, and now we're going to try and push in with our 3 war factory production. We should be in a good position. We are fighting both Collins and Robot though, and they are very good players. The fight commences, and I could be in a dangerous position here. I could get sandwiched between them, but I'm going to be able to pull back here. And you can see that yellow doesn't have as many tanks as red. I'm going to have to pull back a little bit, and the question is, am I going to be able to defend this position? And my ally is going to be able to get in the attack. And now I've got my 4th war factory down. That's going to give me a mega building speed. You can see my ores stacked up quite a bit. Now let's see how this goes. You can see yellow losing some tanks there, but red is pushing in, and red and yellow are working well together at the moment and being able to defend against my army. I think my army is bigger than either of them independently, but now you can see red is having to pull back because my teammate is going on the attack. And now we're going to push up to yellow's base while red is preoccupied. We've taken out that Tesla coil first, as it has very low HP, but does mega damage, and those heavy tanks going down. You can see they were a bit too stationary there. When tanks are stationary, they take way more damage, and now we're just keeping on going on the attack there. I've placed another ore refinery down there, just keeping my economy going. You can see, even though I've got 4 war factories, I'm still stacking quite a lot of resources, which is meaning I'm going to be able to keep on producing tanks at this fast rate, and we're just pushing further and further into yellow's base. But now red is coming for the counter attack. and we'll have to see what they decide to go for here. I have decided to build a service depot and destroying one of my ore refineries, and this is putting me in a hard position because I'm not going to be able to keep up my war factory production if I lose too many ore refineries. And now Robot going for the next ore refinery, but I think I've been able to get my tanks back, and hopefully I'm going to be in an okay position here. And you can see Red losing some tanks there. Yellow also going in the attack as well, but he's only got 3 tanks, and now you can see we're starting to overwhelm our opponents and they're having to drop back. Yellow hasn't got too much left. We managed to do a lot of damage, and my teammate coming in once again, doing a great job there, forcing Red to fall back to his base, and now I can go for the attack with Orange. Also get a Tesla coil placed there just for a bit more defense in case I do get attacked, and I'm going to use this opportunity while we've got the upper hand just to sneak out an extra MCV, which is going to give me extra building speed, because you can see my resources are starting to run a little bit low on that point of the map. And now we're going to take out one of the war factories of Red, and that's going to slow his building speed of tanks down, and we've got another second war factory there, so we're going to also take that out, and that's going to go down also. And just taking out those tanks there, he's got his tank numbers are falling. I've got a great tank mass, and there we can see that Yellow's got that construction yard there, so we're going to take that out as well, and that's going to mean he's not going to be able to build any more structures. And you can see we've definitely got the upper hand in this game. We're also going to go for these war factories to the left, because we can see that Yellow's got some war factories there. You can see some of his ore trucks are stationary, and I think that's just because he's like over collecting for what he can build at the moment. But yeah, you can see those 2 tanks, there's just not enough there, and there's no way Yellow and Red are going to be able to build what they need in order to defend this now. They've just lost too many buildings, too many vital buildings. The building speed will be too slow, and it's just we're just going to be able to roll through here. And you can see it's just as well actually, but Red going for a counter attack on my ally, but you can see my allies reach that middle part of the map where the gems are, so he's going to have a really strong economy, and he's also got a very, very large army at the top there. It looks like he's been able to take out a lot of Red's base there, and yeah, just providing when they were attacking me, he just did a great job of attacking Red's base, forcing Red to pull back and getting a lot of vital kills there. And you can still see Red still at the bottom there, fighting some of Orange's. I think he was trying to take out an ore refinery there, but it's going to be too little too late. He just doesn't have much base left. I'm surprised he's still in this game actually, and Orange just putting some of those Tesla coils up there. And I'm just getting on that gem patch as well in the middle of the map, because what we need to do is we need to keep on expanding and going to different ore patches. I'm getting another war factory out, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep up this building speed, because I am running out of resources in the starting ore patches, which is what tends to happen when you sort of like go for the start. I did, and now I'm going to be able to get my radar dome out, because that first big team are out of the game, and it gives us a bit of breathing space. But you can see how well our armies are stacked up so far, and now we've got a bit of visibility on the map. We can see Cyan in the bottom right position. We can see Red taking his ore trucks further down the map, and I think he's going to try and block my ore refineries. He's out of the game now, but he must have a structure somewhere on the map. I'm just going to take out those ore trucks so they don't provide a nuisance, because they can be very annoying when they block your ore refineries and cause you a bit of economic stress. But now we can see that Orange is commencing in battle with Purple at the top of the map, so we're going to go up and try and provide our teammate with a little bit of support there. And unfortunately some of those red ore trucks are going to get through, but we'll be able to deal with them in a bit once we've dealt with this army at the top, because this is quite major. We need to win this battle, and we can see now Purple having to pull back. I produced a couple more MCVs just to give me a faster building speed, which was probably actually not a great thing to do at this point, because you can see my ore situation is pretty dire. And that's what I was talking about earlier. You can see all my resources are used up from the left side of the map. So now I'm out of resources. I'm going to need to sort of get my economy back on track. What these MCVs will let me do though is to let me go to other patches and place my ore refineries in different places. We can also see Cyan maybe going along the bottom of the map there, so I don't know if he's going to go for an attack on Orange. But right now we're in a battle with Green and Purple right at the top middle of the map, and we'll have to see what happens in the bottom. Is Cyan going to go on the attack? That is a question. You can see that Green is using a mixture of mammoth tanks and heavy tanks, and Purple going for heavy tanks entirely. Heavy tanks are definitely the better option, I would say, because mammoth tanks, although they look great and they are very, very fun, they're not very economical. And now just getting another ore refinery out. As we see, I think orange are sort of fighting in the middle of the map, maybe against purple, and I'm fighting at the top. I did get myself in a little bit of a bottleneck there though, and I have lost a lot of my tanks. And now purple going for an attack in the middle here. I think that orange is okay though. He's got some Tesla out. We're just going to need to make sure we can defend this top part of the map. That's our objective at the moment. And yeah, I was almost built another war factory there, but we don't need it because we don't have the resources in order to do that. So now just fighting this battle out here with those mammoth tanks. But you can see those mammoth tanks are in low numbers, and as long as I can move my tanks around and I'll have a better replenish, I'll be able to replenish them more quickly. And you can see those mammoth tanks slowly but surely being taken out. They do have a lot of HP, but they do decent damage as well. They are like the strongest tank in the game, but they're very slow moving and they cost just so much. You can't build enough of them for them to be effective enough. And now we're going to be able to push further down into the top right of the map. And you can see my teammate doing a great job against purple, pushing him right back. And now we're going to go for that other mammoth tank there. You can see, yeah, now green's starting to put in some rocket men. And rocket men, again, they cost a lot and they can just be squashed by tanks. And I'm just focusing now on expanding my economy, getting to other parts of the map, and just keeping up this tank production. You can see now orange absolutely annihilating those bases of purple. I wonder if they've already taken out green's base as well, but this top right team are definitely going to go down. So a little bit of resistance there. We've managed to break through. We've now got the better armies, and purple looks to have his base almost completely destroyed. We'll have to see where orange going right to the right position of the map. I'm just going to make sure that all the ones in sort of the middle right are taken out, just taking out those last remaining tanks of purple. Purple seems to be stationary now. I think he's knows he's out of the game, although a bit of movement there. I think he's just moved his tanks a little bit, maybe to defend his last few structures. But it does look like it's over for purple, and orange just annihilating green's base now. And it looks like red is finally out of the game. And what I think happened with red is I think he sneaked an MCV to the right side of the map and managed to get established somewhere. But then he got found out. And there's just so many teams on the right side of the map that it was obviously going to happen. There was no way to build a good force there, but a nice try nonetheless. And now we're just going to go for green now, join our teammate. It looks like green is almost out of the game. Just a few things left. We've got a Tesla coil there. We'll get that down because it could do quite a bit of damage. And I think green's selling up some things. And green is officially out of the game. So it's just one team left. And we're going to go for them in the bottom right-hand side. So I don't think they've expanded that much because we can't see any buildings close up, but they might have quite a decent army because they've had a lot of the game to build up as long as they haven't been attacked. Now we're going against pink. You can see pink has quite a number of heavy tanks there, so we'll just try and move our tanks around as much as possible, but the army doesn't look big enough to defend against both me and orange. And you can see orange, I think, going for cyan while I take out pink. And you can see orange also with a massive army there. And yeah, I think, well, it's probably a smart move to take out cyan actually, because cyan is close to orange's base if they did go for the counter-attack. And those pink tanks going down, you can see I've got the better numbers now. And those pink tanks, that army is pretty much completely diminished. He's also got a mine layer, funnily enough, so I don't know if he's actually used that or if that was from a crate. Because those mine layers can take out quite a few tanks. But orange now got the battle against cyan. I know which way that is going to go. So this map was a new map. We haven't shown any games on this map, I don't think, at all. And yeah, it's quite an interesting map. You've got those gems in the middle, so it's the teams risk trying to expand to the gems really early on, or do you just go for tanks? Because there are gems in other parts of the map that you can use early on, because you saw how good my economy was early on. I was able to get 4 war factories, full production at the start there, which gave us a great advantage over the other team, which I think had gone for a bit of a different start. I know that red, I think, produced an extra MCV, which didn't work out in the end. So overall, I think it's a great map. It's got the opportunity for some big tank battles with the number of resources you do get, but there's not like too many resources that you can just sit in your base. You do have to expand out to the map, to other parts. You can see our team at the moment. We're getting most of our resources from the bottom middle and the top middle, so we've really had to expand out there to get those resources because the ones at the start are used up. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.